Okay, so we're here with George. George was kind enough to take some time here today. We're actually working in his backyard right now. He had a massive mature Valley Oak tree that actually came down in his backyard recently. And unfortunately it needs to be removed. But what we're doing is we're actually going to repurpose the wood. So we're working on phase 1 right now in the backyard, which is just kind of cleaning some things up, prepping before we bring in our milling team here. And we're actually going to mill the wood into some slabs. So thank you for allowing us to have this opportunity.
Well, thanks for doing it. Because I've been telling you, we moved into this house about 21 years ago. And the reason we bought the house was because of the tree. The tree was an enormous Valley Oak, probably over 200 years old. And when we moved here, we knew it was sick, but we've been taking very, very good care of it. And just unfortunately, the roots had begun to rot. And one day, luckily, nobody was out in the yard, but it just gradually fell over. And so our main thing is that we wanted to give the tree another life. We didn't want it to end up chipped up in landfill. And so we looked for a lot of different service providers, and we found these guys who have an alliance with a sawyer who is going to come on site and cut it into multiple boards, which will age for 3 years in the backyard, and then, we'll make a table or a desk or something out of it. So we're just looking forward to giving this tree a bit of a second life.
Absolutely. Yeah, so once again, we're really thankful that you called us. These are the absolute projects that we love the most because we're huge on sustainability as a company, and opportunities like this. I know it's always really sad when you do have to remove a tree, and we're all about repurposing it, so we're just really excited about this opportunity for this Valley Oak. I think we were looking at it and talking in the backyard. It's about 4.5 feet in diameter, which is it's a large tree for sure. So
yeah, we talked to multiple different tree services, and it was just clear that you guys cared about the tree amongst all the others. I mean, others were very skilled at taking down trees, but we wanted to work with a team that would help us to repurpose part of the tree. The Valley Oak is not the ideal lumber wood, as you know, because the tree is not that straight. And so people who are urban harvesters weren't interested in it. Also, because our backyard is landlocked, it would have been very hard with the power lines here to actually get a crane to pull it out. And so having someone who will be doing it on site really made a big difference.
Yeah, really, this was the only opportunity for us is to do it on site in the backyard. Just like you said, the only other option would be with a massive crane, and we have power lines all in the front, so that would have been really difficult.
We weren't really interested in hoisting the tree over the house in any case, because it weighs many, many tons.
Yeah.
So we're quite glad to have this arrangement, and it looks like in a few days we'll be ready to go, but it'll take 3 years to age the wood. So.
Yeah, got to be patient.
Yeah,
definitely, but it'll be worth the wait. And I know we were also talking about, it looks like it fell in just about the best spot it could have.
Yeah, I mean,
narrowly missing.
The tree, we used to have a sister tree well before we moved here that prevented it from growing on one side. And so it was always a little lopsided, but it was tilting a little bit towards the house. And we were just really lucky that I think the tall branches left about a foot between where they fell and where the house was. We were in the kitchen when it was coming down, and we ran to the other side of the house because we had time. We could see it coming down. We thought it would crash through the kitchen window, but thank heavens it was thoughtful, and it landed really in the perfect spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty rare, honestly. Like, most of the time we see trees come down, and it happens in the middle of the night or in a storm or a high wind event. And I mean, that fell in exactly the perfect spot, and also kind of gentle. a little bit gentle as
We
well.
had a super wet winter, and so I think the ground was a little bit moist. And I think it had started to move a little bit in the week before, but we didn't really notice. And so just thank heavens we weren't under the tree when it decided to come down.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again for the opportunity. We got our guys in the back there working hard right now, and we're just really happy to be here. So thank you.
Great.
This is the second phase of the project. We're milling. George, you have this beautiful, huge valley oak. I think you explained it in the first half.
Yeah.
About how this is so important to your decision in buying the house and buying the house in general. So, how was the removal process?
So far, so good. One of the things I wanted to find out was how old the tree was. And so this is about 3 feet above the base. So it's a pretty good representation of how old the tree is.
So you want to kind of come in and we'll show this really quick. So let's kind of dust this off here. So I've been making some mess as we removed it and started milling, but.
So I counted the rings starting at the center here, and you can see that the tree itself, if you go, well, it's 355 years old. And so it was a seedling in 1669. In 1776, when the American Revolution happened, it was 109 years old. When California was part of Mexico, it was about 150 years old. And when it was part of the United States, it was about 180 years old. So this tree has seen a lot.
Yeah, as you said, this is the World War I, World War II, and then when was Atherton? First house was built in Atherton?
Well, so this particular neighborhood, I think, was built in the 60s. And so that was out here. And so I think that's when the tree started to suffer a little bit because, you know, the environment changed quite a bit. And when we bought the house, the tree had been submerged a little bit in the soil. And so there was a little bit of rot starting around the roots. And we tried our best to kind of mitigate that. But over time, I think just this side, the tree was also leaning. And so this root stock on the side eventually broke, and the tree just very gently laid down, and thankfully it missed the house by about a foot.
But as you get it open and then we cleared it out, you can really see the damage that was done to the tree over time and the reason why it fell. You know, when we first started, actually, I think somewhere around here, there was a large rock that was embedded somewhere around this area, and it actually was like almost mud right here. And then you're going to get a lot of this dry, and the first chain we were using basically dulled the chain immediately because it was a big rock. It was right here, but there was, you know, this rock's probably 300 something years old because it was right in the center of the tree. But yeah, so this is kind of like where you see is the reason why it failed in the long run. And we're going to try to get some slabs, you know, some decent material out of this. You said maybe in the long run you want to maybe do a little epoxy and maybe.
Yeah, I think, you know, we can fill this in with an epoxy once we clean up the whole rock.
Yeah, and we have some smaller logs. We're going to do some billet, like slabbing, which you have some clear logs and make some nice stuff. And I mean, you can see here how it's actually extremely beautiful wood. There's a lot of character in the wood, and It's a beautiful piece of oak. We also have some
Yeah, this
rot
was,
there too.
this was one of the branches that fell off.
Otherwise, I mean, it's extremely beautiful wood. You see the figuring and this beautiful oak pattern, this classic oak pattern. And I think it's still a pretty cool table. So we're going to do our best. We're going to try to get as many decent pieces out of this to select from, and we're going to mill some more. And you know,
Sounds
George
good.
is lucky enough to take some drone footage for us today, so we'll have some pretty cool shots of this. But getting down to the salvaging of this actual tree that's so important to you guys.
Great.
All right. Thank you, George.